Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all League of Legends fans. Welcome to another exciting week. This is playoff rounds, baby, over at Upsurge Esports here for UPL. My name is Mark Rafa Alexander Arambide, and joining me on the cast today is going to be my good friend, William Chilling Walk Moi. And tonight, we're going to be taking you through the second playoffs rounds, winner side bracket. It's going to be full spectrum taking on Issue is Critical.
Yeah, honestly, Rafa, I'm pretty excited to see how these two hold up, right? Because you take a look at Full Spectrum Esports, their roster's pretty damn stacked here. You got Rodov on the top side covering for Eclipse here. DMK is going to be covering it today for Winston as well. But still, you got Sudsy, King Vex, and Fizzy on the bottom side here. But in the meantime, it's just critical. They got a pretty damn stacked roster as well. Naraxis on the top side, Basic Blonde, Command Attack in the mid lane, and of course, Michin Ugandan Royalty on the bottom side as well.
Yeah, a lot of big names up on the field for both of these teams here. A couple of names that I want to look at is Rodolph, of course, who did get the chance to play in the academy for Clutch Gaming, who is now known as Dignitas for those that have not been in the loop this past year. And Rodolph is a jungler that for the past academy year, he didn't have the biggest moments, but he was always consistent, always making sure that he was doing his job and being the role player that his team needed. And for today's match, that could be pivotal going up against the other opposing forces here.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just excited to see what's going to happen, right? Because these are two star-studded rosters. Well, if you take a look at Upsurge, right, all these rosters are pretty damn star-studded right now here. And
Mhm.
honestly, I just want to see the battle of the jungle here because we have Basic Blonde, you basically War Machine Hyper, and DMK as well. These guys have been going head-to-head for a long time now, so a lot of these guys they definitely know each other. They're definitely friends with each other, or if not that, rivals as well. So I'm just excited to see what's going to happen, Rafa, because these guys they're going to be duking it out. I want to see how these drafts turn out because this is patch 10.6 here. Wukong's a pretty big, solid champion right now. Oh, he actually, unfortunately, I just got notified he is banned. Damn
You
it!
got
So
so
we're not going to see the
excited for
monkey.
the Monkey King to
Oh,
come out, but you
I'm
got to
so
remember
excited, Rafa.
when champions get reworked and when a new champ comes out, we
Oh,
got to wait that 1 week period. And
man.
with the patch came out Wednesday. Now, if UPL was maybe Thursday, then maybe we could have seen the Wukong Monkey King. Oh, it's the entire week. And you know what? We're just the
Damn.
commentators here. We cannot enforce which champions get played or not, but it's okay. There's still plenty of champions that have been recently
Yep.
buffed this patch. I don't think anyone would bust it out today, but I'm personally a big fan of Graves Jungle, and he has just been constantly getting these small touches and buffs of love. Maybe we could see it if there's a tank matchup where Graves could be able to get by freely without having to face against something more aggressive like the Elise or the Lee Sin in the early game.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Graves, right? We saw last week when we saw the Snowman Slammers. Eric Z Yang got it banned out game one, played a game two, but unfortunately he got red when it came to the jungle pathing. And you saw what happened here. First Blood, I'm sorry, not First Blood Crusade, but Orglis was basically just on Eric Z Yang's number here. But you said Graves is a pretty strong pick, and I definitely got to agree here. Grandview University, of course, my school, the school I'm at right now. Coulter loves that pick here, loves playing it in the Midwest Esports Conference. So definitely has a lot of strengths here, and I want to see if these junglers are going to be playing it because War Machine Hyper and DMK, these two junglers love being the carries for their team here. Of course, we do see some insights of them playing these tanks here, but honestly, it's just going to come to what the coach is going to draft and how they're going to pivot their team and pivot their composition to success.
Yeah, and then we also have a battle of Dragoons in the top lane, one just normal Dragoon and the other Dragoon Moon Kim. And now the draft phase has begun, and already there is a target towards that top lane advantage as the Irelia and the Darius being banned on both sides.
Wow.
And even the Silas as well. And the Silas is a very interesting pick, Chilling Walk. Maybe we'll be able to get to see it come up in the series later on because he is a champion that is kind of coming back into the meta as one of those that can just never die, using Conquer and Bruiser items alike.
Yeah, the biggest thing, of course, is that Rumble is a priority pick for a lot of these teams here, being able to be flexed in the top and mid lane as well, and a great lane bully. But Silas is the #1 counter against that. So the question is Dragoon and Command Attack going to be looking to pick that up in the first pick here? But here's the thing, Senna is on the table. Looks like they're not going to be picking because Set is going to be the first pick for them.
Set, despite the nerfs, it still remains to be a strong champion and the likes for the early laning phase. He does tend to have some difficulty in the very, very late game on being able to keep up with opponents who are able to just kite him out, but you can never disrespect his ability to take your beefiest frontline member and slam him down and just deal tons of damage because of that max HP scaling factor on the ultimate. Now, the Aatrox will be picked up by Full Spectrum here, so more than likely, this is the top lane matchup that we're going to get, and it's kind of one that we've been seeing in the professional leagues for the past week and so. So nothing new here. The Lee Sin being picked up for Rodolph, however, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, this is one of DMK's. This is one of DMK. Actually, yeah, Rafa. Actually, DMK is gonna be one in the jungle. He's gonna be one piling in for them. So DMK, this is one of his more comfortable champions in the jungle as well. But Rek'Sai is up. War Machine Hyper is able to play that if he wants to go for the counter pick. But the set is technically a flex here, so gonna see what happens. We talked about the Senna, even though it did get nerfed in patch 10.6. Senna is still pretty damn strong when it comes to the fasting strategy here. Senna Tahm Kench is available for the 2 and 3. Issue is critical. If they want to lock it in, it'll be a very good pick for them right now. As now they, with the set flex pick, they're able to kind of maneuver around their composition to see what kind of economy they can establish here and set up the counter pick on the top side. So I definitely like the strategy so far from Issue is Critical, but instead they're going to be locking in Syndra for command attack, one of another comfortable champion for him, strong in the meta right now. A great lane bully for command attack as well, and also helps out in the 2v2s depending on the jungle matchup, because Issue is Critical, they could definitely put the set on the top side and then get the counter pick mid lane and play for the 2v2s.
Yeah, speaking of the jungle pick, we already know that Issue is Critical is potentially open to getting some junglers banned by Full Spectrum since they did not lock it in. Unless we see some really creative flexing of the set towards the jungle role. I've seen it before. It's compared to other meta junglers, it's not the best, but it could get the job done if they really want to have a matchup that can abuse the Aatrox even harder. But I would imagine that they're going to just keep the set Aatrox jungle matchup. And in Full Spectrum, it doesn't even seem like they're interested in taking away junglers. They just understand that Hyper, who is using the name Basic Blonde 1469 this game, he's going to be pretty comfortable with whatever jungler that he can get.
Yeah, of course, Full Spectrum getting banning away the Tahm Kench. Don't want to see the Senna Tahm Kench on the bottom side here. LeBlanc, good ban as well from Sudsy. Sudsy's been playing this champion for the longest time now, one of his comfort champions. And of course, helps out in the 2v2s as well here. And Syndra against LeBlanc, it's definitely a big skill matchup, but it's a volatile matchup, so don't want to risk that. And I definitely respect Issue is Critical for her getting rid of that champion, especially when you have a pretty squishy Senna and Syndra against that assassin here. I am surprised about Full Spectrum banning away Mordekaiser as well. It looks like they're A-okay putting set in the jungle, afraid of picking a Mordekaiser in the top side here. The Nocturne ban, it could be something surprising. I haven't seen Sudsy pull out the Nocturne, but instead it's going to be the Diana in the mid lane here, taking that away from Sudsy. So Full Spectrum now, more than likely, I think they're going to be picking their support here when it comes to the draft as well. So going to see what happens, or if not that, pick up the mid lane, knowing that it is going to be against the Syndra. So I would like to see the mid lane here, but instead looks like it's going to be the Nautilus support here for Full Spectrum.
Now, taking away the Nautilus away from the fasting Senna as well could be what Full Spectrum were looking for. And it's not that Nautilus would be one of the greater champions to abuse a lot of income, but he does get to itemize in full AP if he's the one farming the lane instead of Senna. But it might be the Morgana that Issue is Critical will be picking up for Switology, aka Ugandan Royalty. 3 seconds on the clock. It looks like the Black Shield utility is going to be what they're looking for. And now we will find out if Issue is Critical wanted to flex that set towards the jungle for Hyper, or if they are going to pick up a more standard jungle meta pick. Elise is still open if you want to match early tempo for early tempo, or if you want to go for something more mid-game focused, you could go towards that Zac pick. This is great tank. Engage initiation. The Elise is being hovered, however, and it looks like that will be the lock-in for Issue is Critical.
Honestly, I'm just so surprised that they're going to be piloting the Senna as the AD carry in the bottom side here. And or if not that paired up with a Morgana, it could still be the fasting Senna, of
Mm.
course. But the biggest thing is that, you know, even though you do have the protection here, look at the composition. You don't really have that much front line. You don't really have that much source of engage outside of the set's ultimate. And you do have a good amount of pick potential with the Scour of the Week, with the Bind, and with the Cocoon here. But honestly, it's just kind of scary when you look at Full Spectrum's composition because it's a lot more well-rounded. Issues Critical's composition is more of, you know, if they can win early, they could definitely just take over the game as soon as possible, right? So that's the one thing that I am worried about when it comes to Issues Critical. If they're able to perform on this composition, then 100% I'm putting all my bets on that composition. But usually when you look at a well-rounded composition, more than likely you'll be putting your bets on a Full Spectrum, because right now they have a pretty solid 1-3-1 design in their making. So you got the Ezreal Nautilus for the mid, Ezreal Nautilus Lee Sin as 2 disengaged champions, or if not that, 2 champions that could just look to rotate towards the side lanes with the Aatrox and the Echo side lanes. And even that Echo has a pretty good matchup into the Syndra as well. So if Sudsy is able to pull command attack to a side lane, then that means that Echo will be able to run rampant as well and look for these pinches, or if not that, go for the solo kills in the solo lanes. So I'm just pretty surprised that Issues Critical is picking the Morgana instead of picking a more of a tank support, something that offers a little bit more for the team.
The only thing I can say, Chilling Walk, is that they've got confidence. They're very dead set on the fact that they're going to have Lane Kingdom in this first game against Full Spectrum. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. You do have the makings of very strong pick composition. I mean, the champions that are picked here are very reminiscent of just things we've seen as early as Season 3, when the days of Elise, Syndra, Lane Kingdom used to be. You would just... Yeah, I'm thinking like old TSM, once Bjergsen came back in for Reggie, and Odd One would be playing the Elise and Bjergsen on the Syndra, and it's like Cocoon into Syndra stun or Scatter the Weak into Cocoon. You rotate him out of the mid lane, you set up Vision in the enemy's jungle, and then it is just pick after pick after pick, and then leading those kills into objective trades, into turret control, and eventually a war of attrition that can net you the game win.
Yeah, and you already highlighted, man, the 2v2s in the mid lane is going to be so crucial for Issues Critical. That is their issue when it comes to their composition. That's what they're going to have to tackle when it comes to moving around the map, because we take a look at their map, right? You're going to have to put some resources into the set on the top side, and of course put resources into Senna and Morgana, and the best way to do that is win the 2v2s in the mid lane. So the question is, can Issues Critical set up those 2v2s, set up those single target abilities against one of Full Spectrum's jungler or mid laner in Sudsy and DMK here? So got to see what happens, but you know, these guys are pretty slippery. Lee Sin and Echo, champions that are very slippery, can easily dodge out on some of the skill shot CCs that Issues Critical is going to be throwing out. But if one of those do land, expect one person to be dead instantly.
Right, and I like how you did mention that even though this composition is win lane win game, it's very strong early. It doesn't really have the greatest of scaling and protection into the late game. Set as a frontliner can only do so much. He will be able to hurl one frontliner, but then the back line for this composition is not a traditional hyper carry. Senna is not necessarily the best, you know, it's not a Vayne, it's not a Tristana where you have this, well, even though the Senna will have insanely long range, she doesn't attack the fastest out of these champions. And whereas you look on the other side, Ezreal's not necessarily one in that regard as well, but you just have more tools and ways of being able to lock down people in spread out areas. You have the AoE knockups from the Aatrox on Rodolph, and of course the death charge from Nautilus, and Echo's just going to be a terror being able to have all that open space. And we know that Echo is such a great pick into the Syndra. Anytime Syndra wants to all in, it's ult for ult, and then Echo gets all of his most of his health back, and then he has enough damage in the tank just from his base kit alone without even the ultimate to be able to take Syndra down.
Yeah, you said it, Rafa, because this is a siege composition that Issues Critical is designing with the early game emphasis of Lane Kingdom against a 1-3-1 with solid flanks here. So these two teams definitely count each other. Going to see which one can execute now.
Absolutely. Well, guys, before we get into game, we want to give a quick time to have one of our awesome sponsors show you a very important message.
Started with a vision of quality, a vision of uniformity. We took the time to create something familiar yet refreshing, something with a bit of change.
Designed to fit any brand's unique vision.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are finally on the Rift for the first game of the series between Issue is Critical and Full Spectrum Esports. Doesn't look like we're going to have any shenanigans for the level 1. It's just the 5-man defensive fan. Everyone is going to be playing it cool for the first couple minutes.
Yeah, and of course, this is game 1, so usually you're not going to expect any sort of shenanigans happening. Of course, they do have a Nautilus on Fizzy, so if there is going to be any sort of level 1s, it could be off of him here. But still, going to keep it safe, going to keep it secure. No reason to throw any sort of risks here, but going to see what the junglers want to do. If they want to go in, drop a ward, and then reset and get a red trinket, as you already see Hyper, he's already going to be doing that on his Elise.
Gets the ward in and is able to recall, gets the sweeper. Going to be important to deny any of that early vision, as the wards do last 90 seconds. So if you're able to take that off the map in the early game, that is it's a long time, and it could cause some concern, I would say, among the members of Full Spectrum Esports. Meech gonna take a mystic shot to the face, was trying to guarantee some temporary vision. Command attack actually moves forward and is going to delay the red buff from Dragonmin Kim. He's not going to be able to steal it, but you can already see the Mia pings coming down. Dragonmin Kim is not happy about this one bit.
No, I actually like that so much for command attack. Just walking up nonchalantly, he's like, yo, that's my red buff. You ain't taking it. I'm going to slow you down, and that's what he's going to be doing. As that means he's going to be stalling out DMK, but watch out the bottom lane as Fizzy. He's going to be looking to start a 2-on-2.
Yeah, level 1, they're just going to walk up and try to down smash, but King Vex taking a lot of damage from the Ignite. But Meech, you got to be careful, buddy. Heal comes out right before the Ignite. Will critically save his life from certain death. It is 2 summoners down from Fizzy as well as on Meech.
Yeah, but IKVix still has that TP, so after this wave, he could easily just reset and teleport right back in, depending on how the lane status of what he wants to do here. But still, that means it's a good 2-on-2 overall in favor for Full Spectrum right now. But the biggest thing, of course, is DMK, right? Did lose out on that red buff, or not got that red buff stalled at the end of the day here, so it's looking pretty good for them. But still, got to see what happens around the level 3 mark, because Hyper and DMK should be looking to get some early plays here. As you already see on the blue side here, Hyper is already hovering around the bottom lane.
Now, thanks to the early shenanigans from command attack, Dragon is not going to be able to answer for this gank, but the cocoon goes wide, and Fizzy, despite having no sums, might be able to get it out, but finally the W lands from Senna, and First Blood does come down. Sweetology, force the flash. We got double teleports coming in. Not even 3 minutes, baby. It is a madhouse. Double kill for Sudsy coming in on the Echo. Gets in with the phase dive, but Narax is trying to answer with his own. Some of that true grit coming back in. But triple kill for Sudsy. He's got the triple buffs. Is this an early Penta kill? Back King Vex takes it away. And an early Penta was denied, but a quadra kill is still pretty damn good.
Oh my god, holy cow. We gotta take a look at this replay real quick here. Man, that was just crazy stuff here. You see Fizzy just walking in, just so sidestepping almost every sort of CC here. Dies in at the end here. No turret shot comes in, but look at the teleports coming in from everyone here. Everyone's trying to look at party down on the bottom side of Sudsy. Gets up to 2 kills off the queue here, and you already see everyone else trying to go hard on a DMK. He only has a little bit of health. That command attack, unfortunately, misses the last sphere, and because of that, that means he's going to be going down as well. Triple and then a quadra here. I honestly thought that they were going to give Sudsy the early Penta before 5 minutes, but no, looks like Meech is going to be taking it back, and still, that's a gigantic swing here. We just got to take a look at the gold lead real quick, because actually before that, another fight's happening.
Hyper says he wants to get more action down, trying to punish summoners onto Fizzy here, and he's going to get locked down. This time, another kill for Sweetology. Not the most ideal. Actually, you know what? I take it back. We have to remember that Sweetology, aka Ugandan Royalty, is the one farming in this lane, since Meech is on the Senna. So this is actually pretty damn ideal in terms of gold allocation for the carries in the bot side of the map.
Yeah, still looking good, but first off, we have to take a look at how much gold Sudsy has, right? Because before we even get to that point, we just had to find the bottom side, but look at the gold right now. Sudsy is double the amount of gold compared to command attack. 2,600 in his pocket against 1,400 right now. That's gigantic here. You already see him, already has that revolver before 5 minutes. This matchup is now totally swung in favor for Sudsy. Expect him to make moves with DMK.
typical trading going on back and forth. Dragon, however, wants to go for the invade, misses the Sonic Wave, but could go for the steal onto the Gromp, has the Smite available, but smites it a little too early. So does Hyper. Gromp is going to reset here, and now Rodolph has an opportunity to be able to help his jungler out for the 2v2. Neuraxis has the true grit. You gotta respect it though, and there might have been an overestimation. Sudsy finally makes it in time. Not going to be able to save his jungler, but he will pick up the pieces because he's on janitor duty. And Rodolph and Sudsy both split a kill and extend the lead for the side of Full Spectrum Esports.
Yeah, and even then, you take a look at Issue is critical. They saw the pings come out that Sudsy was on his way, but unfortunately, they lingered a little bit too long, and Sudsy getting 2 more kills in favor for his team here. Rodolph now sitting up 1-0-3 here. DMK is the only one who's a sacrificial pawn, but look at him, 0-1-7. He's part of all the kills right now, along with Sudsy here. So right now, taking a look at this early game here, 3K ahead, Rafa? This is something we haven't even seen before.
Now it's up to Full Spectrum to maintain this lead because when we go back to the win condition of Issue is critical, they're supposed to be the composition that is win lane, win game, but when already the jungle matchup is somewhat behind against the Lee Sin and the Zed is not doing too well into the Aatrox and the Syndra, I mean, we already kind of knew that the Echo matchup was going to go very well in Sudsy's favor, but having 5 kills early on before 10 minutes, he's going to have Proto Belt online before even the Lost Chapter is finished by Command Attack.
And even then, this is what Sudsy's making all off his advantage, right? Every time he pushes the wave, he's moving around the map. Before that Dragon, you saw him actually just move into the bottom side quadrant here, and you already see the vision that both Sudsy and DMK are placing down. They're trying to track down where Hyper is going, but on the bottom side, Hook's going to land.
A lot of damage going down on the King Vex, but Fizzy is going to try and buy some time for his AD carry, but he's quite overextended, doesn't have flash yet, takes a lot of damage, about half of his health. Hopefully the trade is worth it in the end for his AD carry's laning phase, as we see Sudsy and Dragonminkin getting some vision, clearing out the bottom side of the jungle, making it even harder for Hyper on this Elise to get back in the game.
Yeah, but I like what a Command Attack did right there, and from moving from the mid lane, he moves straight up to the top side, places a ward in the Raptor Bush, and of course putting control ward as well. So a trade of vision looking good for them in case if they see DMK still in the bottom side taking all those camps here. But Dragonminkin did opt in for the reset. He's going to be looking to back off here, but on the bottom side, looks like they want to fight even some more.
Senna has the Glacial Augment, the Flash. Binding comes out from Switology. Flash is exchanged from Fizzy. A couple more auto attacks should do the trick. And with the Ignite, Meech is able to secure the kill onto the Sudsy's
here, though.
Sudsy. Yeah. I mean, this should be a pretty free kill for Sudsy here. And King Vex actually gets donated one.
Yeah, and even then, man, Sudsy now popping off right now. Honestly, this is such a great game for Sudsy because right now, when we take a look at his games overall in this season here, he actually had the lowest gold and kill share during the regular season here. What? So now in round 2 in playoffs, he's looking so good right now. Part of all 8 kills, man. This guy is making sure he's impressing on stream here, and I'm loving it so far, Rafa.
I mean, I think there's a difference between showing up and overperforming and then just kind of being lucky. I mean, I don't want to say that Sudsy didn't deserve all the kills there. It's great for him, and now it's up to him to be able to maintain that lead. But, I mean, getting a quadra kill, almost a pentakill that early on in the game, I mean, that is a result of just multiple things happening, and it shouldn't be a situation that you can always rely on for future games. Like, I mean, otherwise, every team is like, yeah, let's just have a 5-on-5 bot lane and let's just give our mid laner a pentakill. Easy.
And man, I'm pretty sure just prayed to the RNG's god, man. That's what he did. Making sure he got that quadra kill. He's like, yo, I'm going to TP. I'm going to get this quadra kill. Gonna make it work. But instead, DMK now picking up the Rift Herald here because of Sudsy's lead. You know they're going to be putting it mid lane, Rafa. They're going to try and get some more gold onto this Echo.
Yeah, Proto Belt should be finished once he is able to get it back here. Rift Herald gets popped. 3 plates will go down, and Hyper is here to make sure that no dives do occur. Since both Sudsy and Dragon had all of their ultimates available, they definitely could have done the trick on the Command Attack. But it looks like they'll back off for now.
Mine does land, though, but looks like they want to go in.
King Vex having to force the flash as well, gets the pulse. Well, the True Shot Barrage out in response doesn't really hit both of the champions there. Fizzy gonna clear out some vision with Dragon as he is now here. And they know that Hyper is on the other side of the map, so there's no way that Meech and Switology for the moment can aggress further.
Yep. Good respect at the end of the day from Mish and Ugandan Royalty here, just making sure they can back off because, Sudsy and DMK was around the corner if any sort of fights were to go through. But I got to talk about this bot lane real quick, Rafa, right? Because Fizzy here now sitting 0-3. He's the main reason why their bot lane is still succeeding as well here. 1-2-2 on Mish, but still Ugandan Royalty, Swidology 2-1-1 as well here. So those are the only question mark I have right now for Fizzy, because if he's looking to engage in these fights here, it looks like he just might not be on the same page with the rest of the roster here. So just have to pay in mind what happens after laning phase here. It could be doing something what Cadiers, when we talk about tendencies or Cadiers, and Cadiers and IKVX sometimes have issues on the bottom side, but they also manage to bounce back. So if Fizzy managed to bounce back into team fight scenarios and into just looking for picks with his team, it'll be good for him.
Yeah, these are the subs, right, for the side of Full Spectrum Esports. And normally we would have Eclipse and Winston in for the top lane and the jungle matchup. But I mean, if these are your substitutes, then your team is, foundationally and structure-wise, is doing pretty damn good to be able to field, find replacements in a match that is so important into further guaranteeing your next step within the winners bracket for the playoffs rounds here.
Yeah. But the game has slowed down right now. 3K ahead in favor for Full Spectrum Esports here, and still just have to see what Sudsy can do here. I actually appreciate the respect that they have, but in the meantime, taking a look at the bot side.
Hyper pops the Chilling Smite, waits for the Arcane Shift, fires the Cocoon, it's blocked by Fizzy. Might go down, will do.
Another party on the bottom side!
Methodology does pick up the kill, but the Rodolph has the teleport. Does he have the reinforcements in the backup? And he's going to go down. The
Sudsy's here.
Dragon and Sudsy are finally here, but they get a completely annihilated. Sudsy, you're super fed, man. Can you turn this one around? But against 5 people, I don't know if you can get a pentakill this way. Does pop the chrono break, but can he get out? This is still 5 members, and he doesn't have the support of King Vex because he's pushed all the way back to the tower. And just as we're speaking multiple praises about this team, Chilling Walk, they completely throw their lead.
Oh my God, we have to take a look at this replay of this fight real quick because it's honestly so crazy here. We saw what happened in the early game, but take a look at what Hyper and them are doing, right? Everyone else is trying to party and TP comes in here. This is where all the TPs are unsynced right now. Even though Fizzy goes down, Rodolph comes in. He's the first one here ahead, but look at where all 5 members are at right now. They're already trying to focus down Rodolph. DMK is late to the party and Sudsy as well here. IKVX can't really do anything, and now this is where one person from Full Spectrum just goes back and forth right in as well. A new challenger approaches, but every challenger who shows up goes down, and that's why they kind of bounce back. And we have to take a look at the gold lead right now, because now it's only a 1K gold lead in favor for Full Spectrum here. The gold lead has now been nullified.
I feel like that was partially our fault, Chilling Walk. We might have given a little caster curse there, as we were just talking about, yeah, the substitutes are in and they're doing this well. And then 30 seconds later, oh, crap. One by one, people are just kind of fumbling in and dying and one by one and just giving free gold to Swidology and then Hyper and Command Attack. And, well, now the gold lead is pretty much evened up, and it's still early enough in the game where you can try and execute this win condition. That issue is critical does have with this composition. Just look for picks, try and extend that vision control into the jungle, and then force them out through attrition. But
no, look at Fizzy.
Fizzy getting locked up once again, but this time there is a Lee Sin with the Dragon's Rage kick into the Sonic Wave. It's going to take him down, and no Flash will be able to save you from this one. They do get a little kill back. Swidology with the Tormented Soil. Going to be able to take Fizzy down, but this will unlock the bottom lane as top side. There's a massive all-in. Noraxis getting the slam down with the showstopper. Hyper, can he get a little assist? Nope. No assist gold for him. It's all going to go to Noraxis here for the set.
Man, Dragoon being the best pugilist I've ever seen here, walking up, throwing down those fists here, and you see him utilize that ultimate to make sure Rodolph was unable to get to turret, and even then Hyper was there for the backup here. But still, we have to take a look at the bottom side, because during that entire time, DMK, IKVX, and Fizzy here were able to take down that bottom tier 1, the first turret in this game here at 14 minutes here. You already see Dragoon. He's trying to see if he can get this turret as well, but right now, when we take a look at issues critical, they're definitely late on this tempo right now.
Bottom lane turret being unlocked and being the first one to go down. You see now that the bottom side of the map, King Vex and Fizzy are going to rotate to the mid lane and help Sudsy push out this wave, look to knock down this tier 1 turret in the mid side, and that will further unlock the rest of Full Spectrum, be able to further encroach into the bottom side jungle, looking for a pick onto Hyper, and I don't know if he gets out of this one alive. Just a simple auto attack from Fizzy will lock him down for the Sonic Wave, and Dragon picks up another kill onto the Lee Sin as they move their forces over to obtain the Rift Herald.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what Hyper was trying to do there. Everyone else on this team wasn't even close. Your command attack was coming back from base here, but the reason why that turret went down was because of the tempo that was generated from the bottom side. DMK, King Vex, and Fizzy were able to take down that bottom tier 1 and get to the mid lane before anyone else were to come up. That's why it went down here. So at the end of the day, if I'm issues critical, I have to give it that mid tier 1. Hyper shouldn't have died there. He should have just taken it off and reset it. But because of that death, now all 3 outer turrets for Full Spectrum is going to be given over to them here. And now they're going to have a lot of control of the map.
5-1 Echo versus 3-2 Set. Who wins this matchup, Chilling Log?
That depends, man. If we take a look at Dragoon, he has that Blade of the Ruin King here, the best dueling first item here as well. So honestly, it's a pretty bold thing to say here because Neuraxis, he does have that Haymaker. You want to say about the 1v1, they're going to be duking it out.
Well, Neuraxis, aka Dragoon, does have Conquer, so he has the healing, but Sudsy has a little bit of healing of his own with the Chrono Break, but that might have not been the right call there as Neuraxis gets the showstopper down, slams him down, and makes the 1v1 happen.
Yeah, Rafa, I think you, to kind of correct you on that, I'm pretty sure Dragoon wins that one-on-one with that Blade of the Ruin King here, making sure he takes down Sudsy as well. So now that means that with this win condition from Dragoon on the bottom side, that means a split push condition is viable for them instead of a siege composition where they design here. But Fizzy and DMK are around the corner, but they don't know that Hyper is also behind them.
Dragon, he has the resources from the Nautilus, but does he have the damage to be able to pop out? Whoa, True Shot Barrage with a lot of the tank. Neuraxis is falling to the side, but he has the health regen when he gets super low. He's going to be able to... Dragon taking the Sonic Wave, gets the kick out, but I don't know what the hell he thought was going to really come out of that situation when you only one that deep in. Sudsy getting the teleport out, does get some damage, but no one has fallen on the side of issue is critical. Sudsy getting sought out by the Scatter of the Weak stun, looking for the chase, trying to lock the rest of these members down, but with the rest of his teammates not on high health bars, this is not a safe chase for Sudsy to take.
Rafa, I don't know what's going on because this is the third 5-on-5 that everyone is partying on the bottom side here. What's attracting both these teams to just duke it out on the bottom lane here? There's only one turret ahead here, and that's another fight that goes in, but Cloudric is on. Sudsy's looking to fight some more.
I guess Sudsy is not done yet. He wants to prove that he's the better champion or the better player trying to win the 1v1 against Neuraxis, but it's not really a 1v1 when you've got other members trying to help you and siege you out. Swidology has the Black Shield available if he needs to be able to cancel out some CC there, but if Sudsy just pops it with the amount of magic damage he's got, then he's going to be A-okay. Sudsy popping the Chrono Break, be able to get away from Neuraxis' last True Grit Power Fist of damage. And now the remaining members of Full Spectrum Esports will have control over this Cloud Dragon. It should be theirs to keep.
Man, this game is so explosive right now, Rafa, because all these fights here, all those kills are honestly just based off these 5-on-5s that are occurring on the bottom side here. The only thing that happened differently was just a trade of turrets from the top and bottom here, and a small little hiccup from Hyper getting caught out as well here. So honestly, these guys are just duking it out, but still, we take a look at Full Spectrum. They're still up ahead here, 4.5K in favor for them here. No objectives are coming up as of yet, approaching 19 minutes right now, and because of this duking though, we have to be mindful of these item spikes, right? Take a look at King Vex. He has the Training Force and the Mana Mune already on lock here. Sudsy has his two item spike as well, but look at everyone else. Look at everyone else on issue is critical here. None of them has hit their second item threshold as of yet here. So if a fight were to break out right now, that means that Full Spectrum, they could definitely take it and look to snowball their advantage.
Yeah, just between Sudsy and King Vex, who I wonder what the gold lead should be. It is about 2,300 just alone from Sudsy in the mid lane. And then, of course, when we're looking at gold leads between King Vex, it's kind of unfair to judge him against Meech because he is technically the support with the Sunny of Fasting lane. So you have to look at Swidology instead. And when the gold lead is compared there, it's still a whopping 3,000 gold lead. So between both of these carries here for the side of Full Spectrum Esports, they're pumping out tons of damage. They just need to find the fights that are advantageous for them to take.
Yeah, they're already trying to fight over this red buff as well, Rafa, but still, the red buff did get reset here. This is kind of a bold time to fight. It's 20 minutes in, but Hyper does manage to take it away here. Got to make sure if you got Norotzi can make it out as well. But now Baron is up. A lot of people are going to be setting up the vision as well. Take a look at Full Spectrum's inventory. 3 control wards on 3 of their members here, so more than likely they're going to look to move up to the top side quadrant and look to see if they can take control. But bottom side, they're fighting.
Neuraxis pops the showstopper. Rodolph, does he have the world ender? It's
That's a
not
flash
going to
away.
give him much reprieve. Dragon is here for reinforcements if he wants to take the Sonic Wave, but there is a spider lying in wait. He is not going to take the Sonic Wave today, as the rest of the bot lane will rotate over to mid lane, trying to knock down this turret here, an advantage for Full Spectrum.
Yeah, but now look at iKing Vex, right? 4-0-6 here, 700 gold bounty. He hasn't died once right now. And look at his CES, 194 by 21 minutes in. He's farming near perfectly right now, Rafa. And now he has a Muramana as well. These are all squishy members on the side of Issue is Critical here. The only person who could take a good amount of them is Dragoon Neuraxis on the bottom side. But if you're on a 4-4, you have 4 people who are very squishy. This Muramana is going to be hurting if these mystic shots are going to be landing. And that means that they should be able to control this top side quadrant and set up for this Baron.
And one of the disadvantages of going for a Syndra and Elise is that it's very easy to itemize against. If you look at Full Spectrum's first 3 champions, it is all Merc Treads in the pockets, baby. I mean, like, with the reduced amount of crowd control through the tenacity that you're getting in, as well as the extra magic resist, there's just not much damage that's going to be coming out of Hyper and Command Attack. On top of that, they're severely behind their counterparts. So these champions, they don't really have to fear as much when they're going for these plays. The Sudsy is still going on the aggressive, pushing out this top lane, trying to maintain control of this topside jungle so that Full Spectrum can get ready for the Baron.
Yeah, and it's smart too, Rafa, because here's the thing. When we take a look at Issue is Critical, the majority of their fights are going to be off these picks, off these long-range CC, right? So why not get that tenacity with those boots here? Make sure that these fights don't break out on their terms. And I like this little adaptation of what they're doing here on the side of Full Spectrum here. Make sure that even if a hard CC gets locked in, they're going to be fine. But look at Command Attack.
Scatter of the Week comes out a little too late. The damage is being done, and Chrono Break will finally be used just to dodge out from the Unleashed power, but Command Attack will have to limp away back to base. King Vex, gotta be careful taking a lot of damage, but then he goes on the offensive, dashes in.
My
Sonic
God.
Wave comes in. Dragon Min Kim is going full Lee Sin mode, baby. He lets
my
the
God.
Sonic Wave take him to
Look at those autos.
victory. And they're still going. They take down another member in Swidology. They're looking for one more onto Basic Blonde, aka Hyper. And now Baron is potentially up for the taking for the side of Full Spectrum.
Yeah, and keep in mind, Rafa, that was all off of iKing Vex landing these auto attacks and these mystic shocks with that Muramata item spike. This is the reason why I want to highlight this, because if he lands some of these parts, that means the fight could easily break out in their terms, because DMK can look for a kick, Fizzy can look for an ultimate. They're starting with the Baron. They're looking to bail out this fight.
Oh, yeah, they don't want the Baron. They just want more kills. They do find a stun onto Command Attack, but they're getting pushed back by Neuraxis, potentially the hero. Look at this set. Look at how much damage he is carrying this team single-handedly. A double kill for Neuraxis, a.k.a. Dragoon. The man, the myth, the legend will be able to salvage Issue is Critical, and now they look to take the Baron.
Man, Dragoon popping off right now, 6, 2, and 4. The Blade of the Rune King helping him out so much as well here. And the moment he joins a fight, he's able to frontline for the rest of his team here. Rodolph was very late on that teleport. He wasn't able to get there in time here. And also, Sudsy went in a little bit too early, got chain CC'd, didn't have the chrono break to get out of dodge. And because of that, he gets blown up instantly with that haymaker. And we talk about iKing Vex, he got jumped on immediately here. The piercing shadow comes in as well for me to make sure they get in. We have to take a look at this replay real quick, see how this broke out here, because we take a look at iKing Vex. Look at him. He's the only one hitting Baron. And we take a look at Hyper as well. He managed to get it out from here. And look at that ultimate coming in from Meteor, taking him down. Neuraxis, Dragoon, making sure he gets that double kill as well. And because of that, they are able to secure that Baron as well. And now the gold lead swinging, coming back as well. But still, they're still down 4K when we take a look at the overall game state.
A slight dent in Full Spectrum's plans to move the game forward in their favor, and a moment of reprieve for the side of Issue is Critical as Oh man, Neuraxis, can you fight a 1v3? Well, you've got
No, we can.
coming in. It's not a 1v3 anymore. It's a 3-on-3. Fizzy caught on the wrong side of the tracks here. Will get run down by the Spider with the black shield. There's no way that he's going to get slowed down. Meech will pick up the kill over the wall, and King Vex and Sudsy are on the run from this 1v9 set that Dragoon is piloting to just such great success. And Dragon is also on the run, having to forfeit potentially the blue buff over to Hyper. It looks like he's able to secure it, but at what cost is Dragon? King Vex and Sudsy will have to do their best to defend the rest of their base from collapsing.
Yeah, we take a look at the Baron power play right now. Dragoon, Neuraxis is the main man right now, carrying everyone else on his team, making sure he's able to be a split push threat here. We take a look at these one-on-ones. That Blade of the Rune King is definitely helping him out in the long run as well. Now, all these turrets are coming back here. It's a 3-4 turret lead in favor of Full Spectrum Esports, but for what? DMK wants to make for a play.
Ooh! Well, that was pretty damn sexy there, Chilling Walk. The good old Sonic Wave, Ward Hop, Kick Flash. You love to see it.
This is why DMK has such a good Lee Sin, man. Like, that was a crisp play right there. And that's what they need as well, taking down another person with that Baron buff and alleviating the bleeding as well here. Everyone else still trying to pressure in. The 1-3-1's online, but they want to find another one.
DMK is still trying to take the fights even further. Has the Conqueror stacked up, so he has the little bit of healing he needs to be able to take down Hyper, but he's able to secure the red buff and make his way out of harm's way. But the rest of Full Spectrum Esports, having pushed Issue is Critical towards the bottom side of the map, will take this opportunity to gain control over the mid lane and potentially look over in the top jungle.
Yeah, look at Sudsy, though. He's already taken down that top tier 2, less than 50% health left here. So if these members of Issues Critical don't answer these side lanes, the 1-3-1 being engineered, it's going to be pretty tough at the end of the day. But they want to see if they can find another pick here as DMK does get hooked up.
DMK without Flash doesn't mean that he will more than likely get out of this one alive. And Swidology, great heads up on the play, being able to use the GLP, aka the Super Soaker, to success. Neuraxis, we saw this story before. Neuraxis wins these. Sudsy is just going to run like hell out of that one, using the passive to full success as he's able to get that burst of movement speed and get the way from Neuraxis.
Yeah, man, that's a pretty big boss right there. You're not ready to equip to take on. You need everyone else to make sure that that raised boss goes down here. That's a pretty damn strong pugilist with Neuraxis piloting a Dragoon as well. So gonna see what happens. But still, this game right now pretty damn close, approaching the 30-minute mark right now. Only 1K separates both these teams here, and honestly, it's a lot of back and forth here. Misexecution from these fights here. A lot of 5-on-5s as well. So expect another fight to be pretty damn bloody.
You know, Chilling Walk, I'm just curious. Is there any merit to invest in some form of grievous wounds just for the sake of dealing with Neuraxis on this set here?
Honestly, eventually I think you will, because Meech, of course, even though he is behind, he is eventually going to be looking to scale up and get those souls here, because let's take a look at how many souls he has. He already has a lot here. 88 right now, 30 minutes in, a little bit behind the curve, but once he hits that 100 mark, that 120 mark, he's going to be healing a lot of his teammates, especially during these fights here. So eventually, you do want to. Dark Biting does land, though.
But he pops the QSS to be able to get out of harm's way, and Swidology just taking a lot of upfront burst damage from the rest of Full Spectrum. But the slam comes down from the showstopper, Neuraxis, aka Dragoon, looking to put the punches down. The 1-2-3. Ignite comes out, does get a fistful of damage, true damage to be exact. Neuraxis, however, has to make like the win. Oh, where the hell is that True Shot Barrage going? That's
more fights.
We're not going to look at that one. King Vex is out. That's all that matters. He burns the flash. Sudsy does find one onto Swidology before he flashes away to safety. Now looking to put the chase back down on command attack.
Coming back in
his hourglass, but there is a teleport coming back in from Neuraxis, who is ready to rejoin the fight with a health bar fully topped off. And now Rodolph, DMK, and Sudsy, can they turn this one around? They do have the rest of their bot lane coming in to be able to clean up the pieces. Hyper does secure the air dragon for the side of Issue is Critical. Neuraxis is going to get locked up by the Nautilus dredge line here, and Rodolph is on the front line, but this all an elaborate ruse. Just look at the amount of damage and healing that Neuraxis is able to get thanks to Conquer. Nice kick from DMK. Will be able to stall the rest of the members from being able to chase him down. DMK needs to live as the rest of Issue is Critical chase him out of the bottom side jungle. God, Chilling Walk,
Man,
what the hell is happening, man?
man, Rafa, you talked about healing, right? And you talked about should they get executioners. I was talking about Meech and making sure that he's going to be getting a lot of heals here because we have to take a look at this replay and how much healing Neuraxis and Meech were able to pump into their set here as well. But man, it's looking pretty crazy. This replay coming in hot, but still.
Oh, wait, DMK,
Oh,
you
yeah,
knew the ward was there. Why would you disrespect them being
oh,
able to punish you like that? That was critically. I can't even finish my own sentences.
oh,
Chilling Walk. That was a critical error. That's what I want to say. True
you
Shot
know,
Barrage comes out, gives momentary vision of the Baron, but I don't think Chilling Walk is gonna, or the side of Full Spectrum Esports is gonna be able to steal his Baron. Issue is critical. Baron on the table now for them, and now they are in the driver's seat to potentially close out this game.
man, Rafa, I want to get into that replay, but damn it, they had to get into another fight around the banner here. DMK getting caught out. It's a crucial pick here, and that's the reason why they managed to get right back in here. Another Baron going in favor for Issues Critical here. Now this is the first time in this game where now they have a goal lead here. 2K goal lead in favor for them, and they're also coming back with the Dragons here. Before these two Dragons, it was a 3-0 Dragon lead in favor for Full Spectrum, but right now, Issues Critical, they're fighting back here, and they're fighting back with force, mainly off the back of Dragoon piloting the set here, and he's being such a big threat in these team fights here. Rodov is unable to answer him in his split push, and neither is Sudsy, and because of this, that means that whoever is going to be facing him is going to be looking pretty tough here. You already see Full Spectrum trying to see if they can find a flank. This is the game where we were talking about. It's the game of flanks versus the game of siege, and this is where both compositions are now online here. All four members from Issues Critical is now looking to stand up against his mid tier 2 with their Baron buff, but instead, Command Attack is going to be showing the bot side. They might find a jungler though.
Oh, Cocoon goes wide from Hyper. Dragon Min Kim looking to run down the spider. Fizzy walking himself right onto Dragoon here. He's pinched between Sudsy and the rest of the team from Full Spectrum, but Full Spectrum, King Vex, he's going to get run down by the rest of the King. Command Attack unleashes the full power of the champion and is able to delete King Vex off the map. 80 carry down. This means this is the critical fight to win for the side of Issue is Critical. 3 members go down on Full Spectrum Esports, and no one dies on the side of Issue.
Man, I'm honestly not too sure what was going on in Full Spectrum's head right there. DMK saw a champion and he wanted to go for it, but I'm not too sure if everyone else was on the same page here. You saw both of those fights happening on two fronts here. One of them by the red buff, one of them on the choke on the ramp in front of the river by the mid lane here. And because of those two fights here, that means that all these skill shot CCs from Command Attack, from Mish, from Swidology are able to find their pick here. It's only Rodon left. He has to make a final stand.
Rodolph popping the stopwatch, still full health, but just look at how fast his health bar evaporates. Dragon gets a pretty damn sick kick, but can it really save the Nexus from exploding? No. Issue is Critical, comes out on top with game 1.
Man, what a slugfest, Rafa. Like, it is so crazy to see how both these teams were just duke it out over and over again, right? We take a look at the early game here. Sudsy almost getting a pentakill in before 5 minutes, and then another party happens on the bottom side, right? But then in that side, it goes in favor for Issues Critical. These guys are duking it out left and right, but after the game evolves here, Issues Critical just kind of got a better read on these team fights here. Better TPs come through here, and better synergy when it came just picking out these fights here. You saw a lot of these fights from Full Spectrum here. They saw an enemy, they want to try and kill that enemy, but then not everyone else was on the same page to try and follow up, and because of it, that means that they unfortunately just collapsed under the pressure here. Sudsy was looking like he was going to pop off in this game, being 5-0-3 at one point as well, but unfortunately fumbles the ball a little bit with DMK here, and unfortunately not able to start the 1-3-1 here. But I gotta credit Dragoon, right, man, because the moment he won that 1-on-1 against Sudsy here, it means that he's able to take on both solo laners in each respective lanes, and because of that, that means that you need to direct someone else to answer Dragoon here, answer Neuraxis, because if you don't, he's gonna be looking to take each of those turrets.
Yeah, the respect for Dragoon was just not seen, and to be quite frank, I didn't really have respect for Dragoon's set in the beginning of the game because it didn't seem like that Issue is Critical had much of a window to work with. After that disastrous 5v5 that went in favor of Sudsy, almost picking up that Penta, just had to settle for the Quadra because King Vex is kind of a scumbag for taking it away from him. But you know, let us know. Like, do you think that if he had gone in the pentakill chat, that that would have made the difference? Because we'll never know now at this point, right? But you would think that with a lead that huge for an Echo, a champion that is known to just be able to pop off in solo queue games, and be able to just 1v9 and close out the game almost immediately afterwards. To
Now, I'm
have
not too
that lead
sure.
and to throw it away, it's like, what the hell happened?
I mean, I think this comes down to just the subs, right? Because we mentioned that Full Spectrum do have two subs here. Rodolph and DMK are the ones subbing in for the roster, and maybe there's just a little bit of a different communication structure that has to come in. Yeah, actually, everyone but Sudsy is a sub here. So Sudsy's the only man who's on the starting roster in this game here. He's the only one who has to operate with these four different players here, and maybe that's why it's kind of being a little bit chaotic here in their communication. And you see a little bit of disconnect from these players here. You see Fizzy, he's sitting at 0-8-3 here. He tried to look for some of these gauges. He's trying to look for these picks here, but not everyone's ready to follow up as well. And I think this is where we see issues critical taking the advantage here when it comes to just team cohesion and making sure that they're all on the same page. Because these guys, this is the starting five. They've been looking pretty solid right now.
Yeah, communication is always key, and especially when things come down to the wire. I mean, you could be mechanically gifted, you could be on an individual level a star player, but that team play is what is going to make or break as we get further and further into these playoff rounds. And we're going to have to see how this series evolves, guys, as we get ready for game 2. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Awake to my voice and hear the call within. Embrace the fear inside. Surrender your mind to mine again. Close your eyes, have faith in me, and leave the light behind. You're never alone. Whenever it's gone, let the shadows take hold. You're never alone. Let the poison in.
back, ladies and gentlemen, to UPL. We are getting ready for game 2 between Issue is Critical and Full Spectrum Esports. And if you missed the first game, I guarantee you'll definitely want to go back in the VOD and check it out because, oh man, Chilling Walk. That was, I can't find the words to justifyly describe it, but it was something. I'll tell
It was
you
a
that.
it was a boxing match, Rob. I mean, that's plain and simple what it was, right? It was a boxing match on the 101s between Dragoon and the solo lanes. It was a boxing match between both teams in the bottom lane. That's what it was, man. It was a gigantic slugfest through and through. And when we take a look at all those kills, it was what, over 40 kills in that game overall. And even then, we take a look at Dragoon's damage. He actually pumped up the most damage. Did you know that, Rafa? He pumped out over 35,000 damage so far on his team. That's gigantic, man.
He was definitely 1v9 for Issue is Critical. And despite the early shenanigans that were in favor for Full Spectrum, Sudsy picking up that quadra kill, King Vex almost going deathless for the first 20-30 minutes of the game and having that massive Trinity Force and Muramana power spike
Yeah.
early on, it seemed like it seemed like all of the markers were checked for the win condition of Full Spectrum to take down that game, and yet Dragoon was a freaking monster on that set.
Yeah, and even then, we were talking about it a little bit at the post game, right? It's only Sudsy as the main lineup for Full Spectrum here. 4 subs are coming in to help him out, and this is where we just talk about communication, right? Because even though Full Spectrum, they looked pretty good, they had the lights of making sure they win the game here. Some flusters of them dropping the ball on the bottom side. Sudsy was 5-0-3, and unfortunately wasn't able to snowball himself and the rest of the team to continue on and make sure they take the win here. King Vix was also looking pretty solid around the 20-minute mark that started the Baron here, but then because of them starting it off and Dragoon was already there as well, Rodolph didn't manage to teleport in to help him out. It means that they're able to get that Baron here and they get a chance to come back in the game as Issue is Critical, and because of that they take that game 1. But this game 2, they do have a chance to bounce back. It was a close game overall through and through here, and Full Spectrum, if they play that early game and they just have to tweak out some of these small things, they could definitely take it.
Yeah, they definitely have the manpower and the star power. It's just, as we pointed out before at the end of game 1, that most of these players, except for Sudsy, are all subs for Full Spectrum. So the communication and the synergy might not be as crisp as you would want it, but we're gonna have to see how well they're able to clean it up for the second game as the draft phase is underway. And Darius, we saw that ban last game. The
Yep.
Nocturne comes out as well from Issue is Critical. The Senna being the first curveball in the draft for Full Spectrum.
Yeah, finally here. Of course, Full Spectrum doesn't want to pilot the Senna as well. Haven't seen King Vex play this Senna as much. And again, of course, this is a bot sub here. King Vex usually plays with Cattiers here and doesn't have a lot of comfortability with Fizzy as support. So I definitely understand why they're banning the Senna, why they don't want to pick it up here. Yumi getting banned as well here. Do see a lot of prevalence overall from Issues Critical here. I'm surprised about this Nocturne pick because either DMK or Sudsy could be the two that can pilot it here, or if not that, Rodolph can pilot it on the top lane as well here. So just have to see what happens with this Nocturne pick, if they let it through, if this goes to a game 3 here, because I'm definitely interested to see which one of Full Spectrum can pilot that champion. But instead, they're going to be banning away Ezreal here. King Vex loves his champion here, but Ornn is on the table. Full Spectrum, they're going to be taking it.
Sound the Ornn horn, Chilling Walk. The Call of the Forge God will definitely be happening this next game, as more than likely we should be seeing Rodolph pilot it. But the set is still open, and Full Spectrum had to have known willingly when they made that Silas ban. It's like, hey, we're leaving the set open, and we're taking the Ornn matchup into the set. So I can't comment further on that, Chilling Walk. We'll have to see how that decision plays out.
Yeah, and Dragoon played so well in game 1. The main reason why they got back in the game and the main reason why he was the big cushion for everyone else on this roster here. So now he's going to get his hands on again, unless they want to opt into flex. They are red side. They could wait for the 5th pick here to see where they want to put the set. But man, if I'm Dragoon and I'm against an Ornn, I'll be happy to take that matchup again and again and again. But in the meantime, they're putting some more utility back in Meech's pocket, locking in that Varus for him.
Yeah, Senna was taken away, and the Varus, although it doesn't allow for the same capabilities of allowing your support to completely farm the lane and become enabled as a higher income carry traditionally in the bottom lane, the Varus is a pretty good pickup here. You still have some great utility, as you mentioned, Chilling Walk, through that ultimate, being able to lock down someone for a pseudo pick. Full Spectrum, DMK says, hey, we didn't lose because I picked Lee Sin, so He's confident that he can make things work this time around. Now, potentially, either a support mid lane or AD carry pick for full spectrum before we go into the second banning phase.
Yeah, of course, DMK's Lee Sin was looking pretty damn clean here. Landed some great kicks overall here. Even though he did go down in some of these fights here, he landed a 3-man knockup on that last kick on the bottom side. He found a pick on a command attack as well. So if I'm this coach, you know what? Let DMK play his Lee Sin here, and then when it approaches the second ban phase, just ban away everyone else that can counter DMK. Because even then, if DMK were to face like a weaker counter, he still makes it work here. And again, it wasn't even him that was in the early game. It was mainly just a team communication breakdown from full spectrum. So put him on a comfort champion, but talk about issues critical. They're going to be locking the Varus Braum. It's a pretty damn strong bottom lane, Rafa. We see it time and time again.
Yeah, and then it's more critical for issue is critical, no pun intended, is that they've taken away the Braum from that Lucian Braum lane combo that Full Spectrum could have had during the second banning phase, as it shows that they didn't want to prioritize banning it in fear either. The Aurelia already coming out as that was one of the bans that was expended, but I find that very surprising unless they know that Sudsy wants to lock it in for the mid lane, because otherwise we already know that Rodolph is the one that's piloting this Ornn champion into the top lane, but Elise and Olaf being taken away from Hyper War Machine, it's not going to have either of those two very aggressive junglers on the table for him, as LeBlanc is also the last ban towards Sudsy.
Now, I'm honestly surprised that Rek'Sai is still on the table. Hyper could look to pick it up here if he wants the best counter pick into DMK's Lee Sin here. And even then, it does work out kind of well for the composition as long as Command Attack plays a mage. But, yo, we're going to see a Poppy in the jungle. Is that what it is? Could be Poppy in the top lane as well. We're not too sure. We have to see about these drafts here, but haven't seen this champion in a long time. It stops Ornn, it stops Lee Sin, it stops Lucian. Yo, this is a sleeper pick, and I love that Issue is Critical picks it up.
Yeah, through the Korean solo queue ladder, Poppy has been rising up not only as a top lane pick, but also as a jungle pick. Poppy has just been slowly creeping up in terms of power levels since we are shifting towards that Cinder Hulk, Sunfire, Cape meta with the buffs to the Bomby Cinder and the item changes overall. Nami and Cassiopeia are going to be the ones locked in for full spectrum. So lane kingdom for bot lane, Lucian Nami, powerful trading, powerful sustain, and powerful bullying as well. And when the Cassiopeia on top of it, you have that late game insurance when it comes to massive DPS. And Issue is Critical, going to match that Cassiopeia with a Syndra once again.
Yep, Command Attack did play well here. Always a consistent player from Command Attack here. You don't really see him losing games. You also see him hard carrying games as well, but you always expect him to be a solid mid laner through and through here. So I definitely like the Syndra pick and definitely hold his own against Sudsy here, but we have to take a look at the 2v2s here, because if we take a look at full spectrum, DMK and Sudsy, these guys, they played a heavy 2v2 already in game one. Probably looking to do the same thing again here, but still, these guys are going for that lane kingdom, definitely playing towards the bottom side, towards King Vex and Fizzy here. We haven't even talked about the Nami yet, right? Because even though Nami did get buffed, the W now is amplified and now applies that slow 4 abilities as well. So gonna see a good old Lucian Nami bully lane against this Varus Braum here. So gonna have to see what Meech and Ugandan Royalty can do on the bottom side, because if I'm Braum, I don't want to be dealing with a Nami. No way.
Yeah, I mean, the shield can only block so much. I mean, you can block some of the partial damage, but that cooldown early on is pretty high, considering for laning phase standards. And when you were mentioning how the Nami E now applies the slow to abilities instead of just auto attacks, it's unfortunate we don't get to see one of the kind of sleeper Nami combinations is with Ziggs or Xerath, some type of mage bot lane, since the slow does apply to all of their abilities. But I mean, a piercing light through the minion wave will apply the slow from the E and could give the movement speed difference that King Vex will need to be able to catch up to the rest of Issue's Critical's bot lane and make those trades.
Yeah, honestly, it's pretty cool here as well, because usually when you're playing Lucian here, you don't really want to dash in yet. You want to see if you can buffer the passive auto attack with the Relentless Pursuit here. So when you have Nami here, you just kind of get that buff here, throw out Ardent Blaze. If it lands, you know you're going to be looking to channel that Relentless Pursuit in the middle of your passive, so you get that reduced cooldown as well. And that means that you're able to bully out the Varus, bully out the Braum. And keep in mind that Varus is a low mobility AD carry here. So from levels 1 to 5, he's not able to kind of answer back the damage that what Lucian Nami can bring here. But still, when we look at full spectrum, this is a bottom lane that hasn't played a lot together here. King Vex plays with Carriers on Orglis, so just have to see what happens overall when it comes to this bottom side here. And Fizzy didn't have a good performance game one against the issue is critical. He went 0-8-3. Keep that in mind. Even then, he was playing a different champion, was piloting Nidalus, maybe going back to a little bit more his roots, playing the Enchanter supports, and he was able to take it in with a victory. Hopefully they make this go into a game 3.
Yeah, I mean, to give him credit, he had to deal with an Elise that had basically pinched a tent onto the bottom side of the map, and we saw at least 4 ganks coming out within the first few minutes, just spam gank after spam gank, trying to get Meech and Swidology off to a good start, because I mean that was the win condition for their composition. They needed to enable that lane kingdom to be able to roam throughout the jungle, and even though it didn't occur that way, they did have the late. I don't even know if you call it late game insurance. I think it's just straight up outplayed and just stat check difference from Dragoon's set, which is what salvaged the mess of that first game 1 for the side of Issue is Critical. But it should be relatively easier for King Vex and Fizzy to be able to play this lane out despite not having played too many games together. I mean, Nami and Lucian, that's pretty much a bread and butter for any solo queue game.
Yeah, I mean, you basically just dominate the bottom side. It's such a good lane to play towards as well. The only thing you have to watch out though is the level 6. That's always a big risk when you play against these utility 80 carries that have an engage built into their kit here, from Ashe, from Vars to Jin as well, with some sort of CC. So just have to keep in mind what happens, because on the bottom side, if we have to see which person is piloting the Poppy as well. Is it gonna be Hyper on that Poppy, or is it gonna be a Dragoon on that Poppy, right? Because if this Poppy goes up bot side, that means that it's a pretty solid gank. You're stopping the relentless pursuit from Lucian, from King Vex from going anywhere. And if that happens, it's pretty much GG, and he's gonna have to either force the flash or die because of it.
Yeah, even if Hyper is able to play this Poppy correctly, you can even stop Call of the Forge Gods in a way if you don't have that Braum Shield available. If she's diving onto the Ornn and just duking it out and then waits for the Call of the Forge God to come out, she pops the Steadfast Presence. In order to activate the Ram, you have to butt the head with it, man. So, and that's technically a movement ability, and that will get canceled. So there's a lot of playmaking ability and play deniability ability. I don't know if that's the correct word terms. It's we speak for a living, by the way. So, but I'm excited to see the power of this Poppy jungle.
Yep, and taking a look here, you guys don't see it on screen here, but right now we're taking a look at who these guys are piloting, and it does look like Dragoon is going to be piloting the set. Of course, he did have an impressive game one with that champion, and now Hyper piloting the Poppy here. Going to see how it turns out here. It is a winning matchup. Now the question is he going to be running Conqueror in the jungle here, running Predator? When it comes to Poppy jungle, you can pretty much almost run anything when it comes to how you want to pilot the champion here. You can run Aftershock if you're trying to be a front line, because you have you have a free CC with the E there to set it up. You have the Conqueror if you want to try to fight the one-on-one and, just kind of see if you can pump out the damage. You have the Predator if you need some more gank assist as well. Maybe not Omni Stone. Maybe that's something that's kind of questionable, but, everything else, everything general to the jungle seems pretty solid here. Maybe not electrocute unless you're playing, Assassin Poppy, but we'll see what happens.
You're crushing Sean's dreams, man. He wants to see Omni Stone Poppy. But going back, I'm trying to pull up some past Poppy records where it was in the competitive play. I believe I remember X Smithy piloted Poppy jungle once, and he did use, I want to say, I don't know if it was Aftershock at the time, if it was the what was it, Courage of the Colossus was the older one before they changed it, because Grasp of the Undying has been around since season 6, but it used to be Strength of the Ages, and then it got changed to Courage of the Colossus, and then we finally got Aftershock at some point in the rotations of runes and keystone settings. But Predator, I think, is my personal favorite if I'm piloting Poppy, because the movement speed is just so good to not only get yourself into a lane to gank, but also to put yourself in position for that heroic charge to get the double proc damage and the stun as well. That's going to be your best instance of crowd control to ensure a gank goes well.
Yeah, and I'm trying to pull up the stats here. There's only 2 games right now that actually happen in the spring season here as well, so it's so rare at the end of the day here. But let's take a look at the bracket real quick while these guys are loading up here. Taking a look at the rest of the roster. Let's see here real quick here. And yeah, it looks like Horizon Esports actually won against a new. 100 Thieves, of course, is on the loser side because of a hiccup that happened last week, but now they won against Snowman Slammers. And the other side, the winner side, Orglis did win against First Blood Crusade. And, now we're going to see all these games are pretty much 1-0 and a best of 3. So going to see which teams kind of end up here. 100 Thieves are looking to be favored on the loser side, but still, we're still focused on this game here. If Full Spectrum manages to take this game, it's going to be going to the game 3.
Yeah, well, we will have to see how game 2 plays out. But first, we've got another sponsor shout out. It's from our guys at Kono Keyboard. And if you're looking to take your game to the next level, ladies and gentlemen, it all starts with your peripherals. From keyboards to keycaps, mice, and more, our friends at Kono have got you covered. Kono works with the world's best designers, inventors, and makers to bring you some of the best gaming peripherals around. Kono have been huge supporters of us here at Upsurge and have made generous contributions to our prize pools. So, if you need to find a new keyboard, check out the Hex Gears X-1 RGB low profile Bluetooth mechanical keyboard. Yeah, Bluetooth, wireless, baby. You can use the discount code UpsurgeGG for 7% off your first order. For more information, head over to Kono.store to check out all they have to offer. That's Kono store. Kono. Discover amazing products. We'll be back with game 2. and gentlemen, we are getting back into game 2 between Full Spectrum Esports and Issue is Critical. Critically to know that Issue is Critical is up 1-0, but also critical information, Chilling Walk, is that Hyper has gone for none of the keystones that we talked about for Poppy Jungle, but with Halo Blades instead.
You know what? We were both just kind of taking a look at the stats right here. And so far, Poppy has actually been running Halo Blades the most here. And here's the thing, I haven't seen Poppy Jungle actually being played with Halo Blades. So this is a brand new territory for me, Rafa. I'm just excited to see what happens because if anyone in Twitch chat knows, please explain to me the reason because I definitely want to know as well. Because if Hyper manages to pop up with Halo Blade, just kind of get him into the wall, whack him 3 times with all that auto attack damage, I'm down to see it, man. So anyone else, let's help us commentators out, help me out because this is something cool.
Yeah, the more we talked about it, the more we're just like, I mean, cool. You attack really fast for the first 3 seconds, but if that is just way more important than potential utility of other keystones such as the Aftershock or the Predator, we are more than open to discuss this further or to be enlightened by anyone who wants to spill the beans on this tech. But going back to the game, we see that DMK is going to start for red side once again, trying to opt in for the red buff. Oh, beautiful, cheeky play from Swidology and Meech, getting a ton of damage down onto iKing Vex. But fortunately for them, they had to pop the heal as well, and I'm not really sure why. It doesn't seem like that was the most advantageous trade for them in the end.
Yeah, I think Micha and Swidology just want to take on that 2v2. And I think they thought that Fizzy and iKing Vex would want to pursue it further. That's why the heal came out. But still, they're still able to kind of maintain health here. With the heal being blown, though, it means that Fizzy is able to kind of just maintain that health advantage through and through, knowing that iKing Vex has that heal as well. So for sure, victory over to Full Spectrum Esports for their bottom side here. But because of this cheese early on from Uganda Royalty and Meech here, it means that they're able to kind of establish priority in this bottom side here. A lane that they shouldn't be able to establish priority in. So I like this adaptation from Issue is Critical here, making sure that Hyper starts on the top side and the bottom side starting in lane here. So that means that they're able to kind of play towards that bottom side, make sure they have some sort of alleviation. Because now you take a look at both side lanes here. Dragoon's getting priority on the top side. Bottom has priority as well. And right now, Command Attack versus Sudsy, it's pretty damn even so far here. So getting a little bit of this breathing room for this bottom side is looking pretty good for them.
And King Vex taking a decent trade against Swidology. Trying to burn down the health pots as Fizzy still has 2 to his name, whereas both Meech and King Vex have burned their 1 health pot for the beginning few minutes of this laning phase. But thankfully, Fizzy is playing Nami, and when you play Nami, that means you got tons of sustain as well as poke in the tank, as long as you've got the mana to be able to supply it. We do see Hyper circling around the bottom side of the map on the river, trying to take down this crab, and now is circling potentially for a mid lane gank. Sudsy is positioned away where could collide with the wall, and that would be a stun from Command Attack as well, and that could be spelled danger. But instead, maybe it's a bot lane gank.
Yeah, both these teams kind of just playing a little bit more patient here. Back then in game 1, it was a 5-man slugfest at this point here. Might happen again, but right now Hyper is here. Gonna show up, throw a buckler at his teammate, at the opponent here, but still no action early on right now.
Didn't even get to proc the Hail of Blades. I mean, he threw 1 auto attack and then he wasn't in range to be able to get the other 3 in, or the other 2 in. So far, Hail of Blades, not really impressed, but maybe we'll see it come to full use later on into the game as Dragoon, yeah, he's getting low, but he's also getting Radov low, and he's got a full fat shield, but he's also got to be careful that he's taking a full minion wave on that trade as well.
Yeah, it's a 5 caster minions plus a cannon here. You want to fight that because of the haymaker here, but still, you don't want to be in front of Rodov right now because that's a big horn. First one goes over to him.
Yikes. I don't know about that one, Chilling Walk. that seemed really disrespectful from Dragoon to just completely disrespect the amount of burst damage. I mean, this is Ornn we're talking about. This is the tank that is also a slash assassin, slash burst mage, slash whatever the hell you want to call him. He just does it all. And now teleports
TP
are coming in onto the bottom side of the map. They're going to flash onto Fizzy, getting the stun
TP's
down.
coming in
Another
again.
stun from Command Attack. Beautifully done with a Scatter of the Weak. Now we have
Party
Suds
coming in hot.
teleporting slightly a little bit late. The stun will not connect from Hyper. Halo Blades, once again, not really impressing me. Doesn't get the auto attacks down before he has to run away from the auto attacks of King Vex, but it is still overall a net advantage for the side of Issue is Critical.
Man, it's going to be another party in the bot lane, Rafa, but thank God not everyone came down here because we take a look at top side. Dragoon didn't have that TP, but still picking a kill here. Four command attack is looking pretty good here. Fizzy going down again. Looks like he's right now the liability so far on this full spectrum sub roster so far. Game 1, 0-8-3. He's also the first one to die in this game as well, so have to see if Fizzy can bounce back here and make sure the comms are A-okay for him, because this is a winning lane for their bottom side here. If another death happens on a Fizzy or on King Vex, this bot lane will eventually crumble.
Fizzy pushing Switology back, making sure that he cannot be within XP range as they're looking to maintain this slight freeze or slow push that King Vex and Fizzy are building up to crash into the tower because they have bot lane control. It's very easy for DMK to pick up the first dragon of the game, which is Infernal. Not sure what the next dragon will be. Looks like it's going to be a cloud dragon. So we're going to have an ocean or mountain soul this game, Chilling Walk, and that could be very powerful either team.
Yeah, we have an Ornn here with a Mountain Soul. That's a lot of shielding and a lot of resistance for the tank on full spectrum here. So definitely looking good for them here. Just still surprised to see what Hyper will do with this Halo Blades here. I'm not sure if it's kind of engineering the early game here. I'm paying attention to Twitch chat, seeing what the reason is. Haven't seen any feedback as yet, so I'm still in the dark here, Rafa. I just want to see if Hyper can perform on this Halo Blades Poppy here, because I just want to see it do well, man. I want to see him whack someone, hit him 3 times here, and get that kill.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been really impressed with it so far, but maybe it's just mis-execution, or we just have not seen an opportunity where it gets utilized to its full potential. But I would imagine it does not stray Hyper from building Cinder Hulk first item. I would not imagine that this would be a game to go Warrior Enchant Poppy, although that would be pretty hype just to see a bunch of burst damage. I don't know if I've told you this one before, Chilling Walk, but we had a solo queue game where we went up against an electrocute Poppy, and it just ran full lethality, and it would one-shot people. It was terrifying.
Man, I'm down to see that. I'm down to see that game from Hyper here if he wants to go full-on damage here. And, you know, lethality Poppy, that's like something where you're never going to see, but when you do, it usually pays off here. So I don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to expect to see a Cinder Hulk here to make sure he's a frontline for his team here, make sure he survives. But man, if he wants to go for a spicy play, it's happening on the top side, though.
If he can get another instance of the W damage, oh my god. Narax is trying to flash away in time, but is not able to get the damage down. And he will get solo killed once again by Rodolph. This time, you know what? Now we understand why he wanted to get the Ornn by the bottom side of the map. Meanwhile, Chain of Corruptions locks down the fish for some sushi on the side. Issue is critical. Gonna pick up Fizzy for another kill as Sudsy does make his way down. DMK, do you do it? Now, this is Poppy you're playing against, and she has the steadfast presence available, so DMK knowingly will not take the resonating strike forward. It looks like they're just going to try to push this wave in for turret control.
Yeah, Fizzy, unfortunately, going down again here, but taking a look at the top side here, Dragoon kind of crumbling under the pressure right now here. He's actually swapping his itemization, had a Ruby Crystal and a Longsword, but instead getting in Bilge Watercolor so he can actually hold his own here against Rodolph and his Ornn here. You talked about the assassination potential from Ornn. He definitely did it again here, had that Ignite because he ran Spellbook, and because of that, he took another kill against Dragoon here. He looks so good in game 1, but now looking like he's 0-2 here. But on the bottom side, another pick on a Fizzy.
Ugandan Royalty wants to get the all-in down on the Fizzy, who wants to punish this fish so hard and put her into the ground, but there's just not enough damage in the tank from Meech to be able to make that kill happen. They go for the all-in, they try to push him back, and they will have to recall here.
But even then here, looks like Dragoon still wants to duke it out with Rodolph, know that he has the build on the cusp. But look at these two, they're looking for a pick.
Oh, it's not the Elise, but it's the Poppy, baby, and they get the damage down. Unleash power onto the snake. Will take her down. Kick goes through Command Attack and Hyper as they get sent away, and DMK will be able to make it out alive, but they will have to forfeit control over the top side jungle.
Yeah, and I love this play that happened to your rival because when you're playing against a Cassiopeia, when you're playing against a mage that depends on that mana, you want to see if you can try and contest for that second blue buff here. They knew that Sudsy and DMK want to make a rotation to hand off that blue buff over to Sudsy so that lane dominance goes over to him. But now because of that catch here, command attack now 2-0 here, 20 CS lead in favor for him. And now Sudsy, he's on the back foot here. And now they have full control here, getting that blue buff. And you already see the bot side of Meech and Sodology moving towards their own as well, making sure they're able to defend their own and Sudsy not getting any of it. This means that command attack is able to get that mid priority and move around the map.
Coming back to top lane, it does seem like that Dragoon has regained control of the wave here for now and has the health advantage over to Rodolph, but he's packing the heal as his summoner spell for now, thanks to the Unsealed Spell book. And it's going to give him enough lane control to be able to allow the rest of his team to go for this Rift Herald. All 5 members are dedicated onto the top side of the map. There's no way that Issue is Critical can contest this objective. But the next dragon will be spawning. It is a Cloud Dragon. Maybe that is where they can pivot.
Yeah, but good stuff from them here. Looks like from Full Spectrum, they want to make a power play right here as well. All 4 members on the top side here looking to use this Rift Herald as well to get some more gold in their pockets. So I like this play here. They want to see if they can kind of push the lead on their favor. So it's a risky play, but if it works out well, it's going to be a great amount of reward here because you take a look at the bot side, Meech is nowhere close at that bottom tier 1. They're going to get no plates because of that. And this is before 14 minutes here. All 5 plays are going to be taken in favor for them. And you take a look at Swidology, you take a look at Hyper here. They don't do a lot of damage here. You already see him trying to see if they can make a play in this mid tier 1 because that's the only play they can do to answer back.
And crucially for the side of Full Spectrum Esports, locking this first tower on the top side of the map means that they can rotate Rodolph out of the lane and say, you know what, you don't need to lane anymore, buddy. Now we need you on the map to be able to make plays. Call the Forge God. We know how powerful that ultimate is. This is an AoE knockup that can extend over pretty much a screen's length of the battlefield. But with all that focus towards the top side of the map, it gave a moment for Issue is Critical to move into the bottom side of the jungle as they take all the resources away from DMK.
Yeah, they do, but DMK is already on the top side, taking the resources away from Hyper as well. So you take a look at both sides of the map here. Now King Vex is back on the bottom side. He's going to be able to save these 2 plates here. Now it's looking pretty good as well. So definitely liking what Full Spectrum is doing here. That double play definitely making it work, but if they don't defend Meech from taking this turret, that means that the advantage that they have pretty much goes for naught.
Call of the Forge God comes out, gets 1 instance of the max health damage. I mean, look at that. Half of Neuraxis's health gone just from the full combo of Rodolph, and here comes DMK looking to finish him off. Showstopper, however, comes out. There's the kick. There's the Sonic Wave. Cool guys don't look at Explosion. Unleash Power doesn't kill him quite yet, but Command Attack will be able to get the last auto attacks in to take down the Snake once again.
Man, even though Full Spectrum started off their foot forward, making a play for that Rift Herald, now all of that has been nullified here. 2 plates being taken for Dragoon on top side. Even though it goes down, a kill happens in the mid lane, a plate goes down as well, and Meech is able to take down the bottom tier 1 here. So all that gold that they got and all that tempo they got costed nothing in return for them here. They weren't able to translate into anything as well here. And this is where we talked about the communication, Rafa. After game 1, after you make that kind of play, what can you do to kind of transition that into something else? And because of the lack of transition here, everyone else is kind of flustering and dropping the ball. Sudsy's 0-2 now. Fizzy here's 0-2 as well. And this is where if I'm Issue is Critical, I'm looking pretty good here because if I'm them, I'm able to kind of take whatever I want at this point. Now we have the tempo. We're able to kind of control the map here. Dragon is still coming up the next 2 minutes. There's only 1 site left. It's the mid tier 1.
We see Hyper passing off the blue buff over to Command Attack, and with the lead that he's already gained for himself in this matchup against Sudsy, having that blue buff to be able to just continuously spam spells and push out the wave, allowing him to move into the enemy jungle to be able to make picks. And we already see it happening, coming to fruition. King Vex takes a face full of water balls, and that's quite the explosion there as King Vex does go down.
Yeah, even, man, command attack 4-0, but even top side, another fight happening, and a fight in the mid lane
Flash
too.
over the wall, baby, from Hyper, but taking too much damage from the turret. The auto attack will finally come in as they look for the killing blow onto Sudsy. Meanwhile, on the top side of the map, Naraxis trying to fight in a 1v2. We've seen that story before. Chilling Walk, it did not end in his favor, and it will not again happen as DMK picks up the second kill of the game, going for the 2v1 tower dive under the mid lane turret onto Fizzy. Meek still taking another turret shot, will finally go down, and the action does not stop here. DMK roaming all the way from the top side of the map, getting the Sonic Wave into the Resonating Strike, and auto attack from Vodar or Roadhop will take down the Prom.
Man, dropping the ball around the mid lane now from Issue is critical here. They found some picks here, but unfortunately a dive costed Meech and Twidology here. They both had flash as well. They could have gotten out of dodge here, but unfortunately they go down. They actually have a potential of losing in this mid tier 1 here. Roto 3-0-2, Dragon Kim 2-0-1, but Hyper's here.
Oh, we have the kick. Resonating Strike. DMK knows that Hyper could have popped the Steadfast Presence to prevent him from being able to ward hop out to safety. Sudsy here, getting stunned up by the Scout of the Week, loses about a third of his health right there. Gotta be careful. Oh my god, Hyper, do you really want this? Chilling Walk, things are so tense. Everyone's kid wants to continue fighting.
Yeah, this is where it's kind of like game 1 now. Everyone's getting antsy. Everyone sees a champion. They want to kill that champion, but both these teams just need to calm down a bit and wait for their item spikes here and kind of be patient here. Dragoon here, 0-4 here, a gigantic flip from game 1 as well, but Command Attack now being the star of this team here. 4-0 here, a lot of gold on him, a 50 CS lead in favor for him as well from the mid lane here. So gonna have to see if they can play off him, but on the bottom side, another fight.
Oh, poor Naraxis. Can he actually get out? He doesn't carry Rodolph with him, but Rodolph is still going to be able to lock him down and get his 4th kill of the game. Well, when you're looking at a 4-0-2 Ornn here in Chilling Walk, I mean, things are just going to get worse if you are Issue is critical.
I mean, I think what's worse is that you have a 0-5-0 set here that is unable to handle anyone in the split push lane now. So this is where it's a gigantic flip of game 1, Rafa. Back then, game 1, Dragoon was able to handle both solo lanes from full spectrum, but now knowing that he's 0-5, he's unable to handle either of them, and this means that Rodolph becomes a split push threat. He's able to make these pinches as a tank here. He's able to kind of just look to make these plays here. So a big flip from game 1 here. He's also going to be the main person to carry everyone else on his back here. So both these teams kind of making a gigantic flip of the script.
And this time around, Command Attack is the one with all of the gold for his team. 7,400 versus 5,400 from Sudsy. A solid 2K gold lead in the mid lane alone. But when you're also looking at a almost 2,000 gold lead in the top lane from Ornn, we're just going to have to wonder what will be the difference maker for the side of Issue is Critical if they want to close out the series 2-0, because right now, Full Spectrum, despite not having the gold lead, it's just very marginally in favor of Issue is Critical, and they can always take it back.
Credits to Dragoon, credits to everyone on Full Spectrum. They're always on top of the first Drake, the second Drake, and both Rift Heralds as well. It's happened in game 1 is where they able to kind of just take advantage of these neutral objectives here, but keep in mind that Dragoon is now free on this bottom side. Bottom tier 2 goes down. That means that tier lead has been evened up, but with that Rift Herald, they're looking to make another opening play.
Looking to unlock the mid-tier turret here, opening up the map further in Full Spectrum's favor. Now potentially cutting off members of Issue is Critical. Nice stun from Command Attack. We allow them to have safe passage towards their second tier mid turret. Keeper's Verdict knocks away DMK, and now they're going to try to get the damage down onto Rodolph. The nicely done from Meech to lock him down further, but he will flash away, and now things are being turned around on its head. Shield has already been used. No one will be able to block the Call the Forge God, but no one goes down miraculously, although health bars are very low for both members of the teams. Oh, wait a second. Oh, well, so I'm not sure what happened to Chilling Walk, but I think we're both in shock that during that whole time, Naraxis was just split pushing on the bottom side of the map, and an inhibitor has been fully unlocked in favor of Issue is Critical. And so just like that, despite being 0-5-0, Naraxis is completely salvaged Issue is Critical once again in the mid game by taking down such a powerful structure.
Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened, Rafa. I think there was a disconnect between me and you, but I think we're both back at it, and I can hear you, can hear me, but still, gotta see what happens here. Kind of a mistake at the end of the day around that mid-up tier 1, and now both these games are kind of back to being even here. Only a 1,000k goalie separating the two, approaching 20 minutes here. Now Baron is up, 2 minutes left on that Earth Drake here. Right now, we take a look at Command Attack. He's 4-0, but he hasn't translated that goal lead. And this is where I kind of criticize his play style when it comes to a mid lane here. He's always consistent, but he's always not the star. And that's where I want to see him be the one to carry his team on his back.
So far, Naraxis, despite, or Dragoon, despite being 0-5, has put in his work, has put in his fair cut of the deal here for the team. Unlocking the inhibitor means that Rodolph is now on permanent bottom lane split push duty until that inhibitor comes back up. Tier 1 turret potentially on the table for Issue is critical as they take it away from Full Spectrum. And they move into the top side of jungle. Oh no, Sudsy, this is not where you want to be. Flash away. Petrifying Gaze will stop one, but it will not stop the other. As Naraxis, despite being 0-5, wants to put the pain down onto the snake. Tidal Wave comes out, but is going to get locked up by the Chain of Corruptions. Fizzy will no longer see the end of this world. DMK and King Vex, they want to be able to take the 2v2.
Look at Meech!
The stun to last so long for Switology. Thank you. Concussive blows is going to lock him down for the kill. Rodolph still in a 1v3, 2v5 actually. Things are turning on its head, but the side of Issue is critical. They're going to have to run of the hell away from Full Spectrum. DMK still in the works here. Health bars are very insanely low for the side of Issue is critical, but they still come out of the fight in favor for them and now make their way towards the dragon.
And Hyper's in enemy territory, but let's take a look at that fight, because that was two fronts again happening in this game here. Game 1, it happened again in this game. It happened the same exact way here. One by the Wamp, one by the blue buff here, and we take a look at Meech and Ugandan Royalty. They were fighting a 2v3, and they won that, baby. You saw Meech put on a show. He's looking so good right now. 3-1-3 has that Gwynsu's Rage Blade, and so now he's a big damage threat that can be a carry as well. Now, Command Attack, unfortunately, didn't really do a lot in that fight, but still, now with Meech being a big threat here, he's looking pretty good here. King Vex only sitting 0-2 here. He doesn't have his second item online compared to Meech, and because of that, these fights are based on those item thresholds. Now it's looking good for Issue is critical.
Wards will be swept out, and there will be no chance for the side of Full Spectrum to be able to contest the dragon away from Issue is critical. And now they make their way towards the Baron. Need to make sure that the vision control is in their favor so that they can make the picks necessary to then spiral and snowball into that Baron objective takedown.
And then you already see here, Sudsy's 1-3 now, kind of just playing in the jungle here, not really farming as much as either. 50 CS behind as well, but you already see Full Spectrum. They're on the hunt here. They're trying to progress forward.
It seems like they could have continued taking Baron, but they say, you know what, let's take down Sudsy, let's take down DMK, let's make sure that we can guarantee this Baron as Command Attack allows the spears to fly with the unleashed power. Beautiful knock-up from the Call of the Forge God will find 3 members, and Rodolph potentially tries to turn this one around, but he is way too low, and he doesn't have the backup of King Vex. King Vex is just way too low on the health bars, and Fizzy is just a Nami in the late game. And I mean, what can you do? Even at 23 minutes, she can only do so much, and without a jungler, it could be Issue is Critical's Baron to take.
Man, that's where we talk about communication, making sure that all 5 people are able to set up that vision line. But unfortunately, Sudsy's the first person to get caught out, then DMK as well. And because of it, both your mid lane and your jungler are gone. King Vex doesn't pump out any sort of damage right now because he didn't have that Essence Reaver online. And now, because of that, they lose out this fight. Rodolph, even though he is 5-1-2, he's also a tank here. All that base damage that he has in his kit that's definitely overloaded in the early game is now coming back and equalizing itself out here. And now taking a look at the score here, they have that Baron buff, 4k gold lead in favor for them. They're looking to see if they can push the objective forward, and now Issue is critical. They have the ball game.
Chilling Walk, does top lane matter? I just have to ask that question. When you're looking at a 0-5 set that is able to still win team fights against a 5 and previously 0-2 Ornn that is now 5-1-2. It just, like, maybe this is why this Issue is critical said, you know what, it's fine. Naraxis is going 0-5 on set, it's fine. We'll still win this game. and top lane difference doesn't even matter.
You know, Rafa, maybe top lane does matter, but here's the thing, right? Take a look at the team behind everyone else when it comes to Dragoon here. 5-0-2 on command attack, 5-1-3 on Meech here, and of course, Hyper here 0-1-5 as well. So even if he's 0-5 here, you got the rest of the team to back you up. So I won't say it doesn't matter. You just have to perform well as a team here. And right now, when we talk about full spectrum, they're not performing too hot as a team around Rodoff. So you have to see what happens, man. I don't think it doesn't matter. It definitely does.
Well, F in the chat for Chilling Walk. We must have lost him during that, but I'm completely there with Chilling Walk on that passionate rant. Top lane does matter to some extent, but it's a team difference as well. You need the back line to support the very strong front line as well. And just to go in the case, Keeper's Verdict comes out. He's going to punt DMK away, and Sudsy is left all alone to dry. Neuraxis Dragoon trying to buy as much time as he can. Has the shield available from the True Grit. Not going to take Sudsy down quite yet, but he is so low, he's going to have to go back to the Nexus to regen. They do lose the second tier turn onto the top side of the map. DMK back now from the Keeper's Verdict. They still have the Baron buff in their hands. They want to get as much damage as they can from this Impaired Cannon minion. Rodov no longer has Call of the Forge God, but they want to go for DMK, going a little too far. Was trying to relive the Lee Sin dreams of just going forward and going for that insect play. Hyper, what the hell are you doing? You just flashed away. I don't know what the idea of that flash was. Barely able to get out alive. However, buying some time. It's just all an elaborate ruse here for Issue is Critical as they continue sieging down onto full spectrum, having another empowered Canyon minion trying to pound auto attacks into this turret, wanting to unlock it. Neuraxis has teleported, I believe, back into the mid lane and taken the inhibitor turret. Oh my god, look at this damage. 0-5, by the way, on this set. It doesn't matter. He's still strong as hell. Blade of the Ruin King and Black Cleaver in the bank as well, and they're making their way towards this third dragon. It's going to be a mountain dragon for potentially the sole win condition of either of these teams, but Issue is Critical. They're in such a good stronghold with 7,000 gold in advantage for them. They could end the game in the next 3 minutes.
Yeah, Rafa, apologies though. It looks like Discord is kind of whacking up on me, but I was watching that fight the entire time here. Meech popping off in front of the backside. DMK try to look for a kick here. I saw him trying to go deep in to see if he can kick Meech back in the team because he didn't have any flash, but unfortunately those concussive blows costing him a lot here. 9-13 here, 7k gold leading them. It's the Earth Drake. Look, I'm not too sure if you want to fight for this. It's only the third Drake if I am full spectrum here, but looks like they do want to position themselves because they do want to set themselves up for the Mountain Soul.
Hyper taking half of his health in damage, but has the Gargo still play coming up off cooldown. Will give him a temporary boost in health once he wants to pop it in the fight. Dragoon starts the fight off. Sudsy losing almost entire health bar there just from the showstopper. Rodov, as the tankier he gets, it just means more damage potential from Dragoon here. The dragon will be secured by Hyper. The culling comes out as the damage disperses. Dragoon will fall to Sudsy, but they trade one back on the Eye King Vex as DMK trying to go in for the resonating strike. Beautiful petrifying. Sudsy locks up the 2, but doesn't matter. The rest of the damage dealers from Command Attack and Meech are still on the aggressive. They want to push forward. Sudsy still has a full health bar thanks to the healing from Fizzy. They still don't get the dragon as that was taken by Hyper for Issue is Critical, and they look to march down onto the bottom side of the map trying to hunt for DMK, but Sudsy forcing Switology to flash away. Resonating Strike is not going to quite land yet. Another Twin Fang is not going to take down Switology, and the rest of Issue is Critical are going to try and run away. Hyper, you are playing a dangerous game, my friend, but you do have that steadfast presence, and they're just trying to buy time for Command Attack, who did teleport to the top side of the map and trying to unlock this inhibitor.
Man, that entire fight went so damn long. All these extended chases didn't result to anything here, but it means that the third Earth Drake is going to be going in favor for Issue is Critical here. And the entire time during that fight here, I was paying attention to Meech because he was basically just sitting there free hitting by himself here. Everyone else is so low. Command attack, Hyper, and then even then Dragoon goes down, and Swidology was also so low, but Meech was the only one in the pit here perfectly healthy. And if that fight kept on going, I know that Meech would have definitely carried it through and through because there were so low health bars on full spectrum. But still, 7k goal lead right now. Just less than 10 seconds left on this Baron here. It's going to be spawning real soon here. Now the question is, Are they going to get this Baron? Because if this Baron goes over to Issue is Critical, it looks like it's going to be their game.
Baron buff on their side would just make unlocking these inhibitors and potentially ending and closing out the game that much easier. Vision control is being fought over at the moment onto the top river entrances for this Baron. Full Spectrum Esports, it is critical for them to be able to get the vision necessary to be able to see once Issue is Critical starts up the Baron. If they get a chance to steal it or deny it, or better yet, just kill them all inside the Baron pit where they are taking increased amounts of magic damage due to the magic shred, then it could be a possibility as Hyper, not in the best spot, in a 1v3, he's gonna get locked down for the kill here. Tidal Wave comes out, but where's the Resonating Strike? You saw that he caught the steadfast presence. It doesn't matter, they finally get the last ticks of damage down. Call the Forge God comes out a little late, but it just disperses the rest of the team, and without the jungler and the support for the side of Issue is Critical, Baron is up for the taking for Full Spectrum.
Ooh. Yeah, but look at what Issues Critical is doing here. 3 of them are running down the mid lane. Gonna see if they want to see if they can end this game here. Mid-tier 1 is down here. The trait is Baron for the base here. You see him trying to walk in here. They're looking to see if they can guide the top tier 1 as well. Baron, I'm not too sure what the health is because there's only
1800
left here. Now the Baron resets are coming in. It's gonna be creating Hashik Rafa.
They take one Nexus turret, but I don't think they can go for another one. Everyone has already recalled. They take down Rodolph, but command attack will fall, or I should say Dragoon will fall for his sins. Now the rest of the members of Issue is Critical are trying to respawn, but they're not going to be anywhere near to be able to support command attack. Amish getting out alive. DMK looking for the Resonating Strike, does find the mark. King Vex will take him down. The shutdown comes in. Meech is going to have the flash away. Is there another flash to be able to survive? The shield comes in with the Guardians. Is going to able to survive. Meech will be able to live despite the poison ticking down thanks to the efforts of Switology. There's no other objectives to take up on the side of the map, but 2 inhibitors unlocked, 1 Nexus turret down. Things are getting so tense here, Chilling Walk.
Oh my god. Issue is Critical. Try and go for the Hail Mary of plays here and try and see if they can get to the end zone. But unfortunately, they get stopped by the 1 D line from Rodolph as well. And backup came in hot. But still, take a look at the base. Take a look at the base of Full Spectrum. No turrets are left here. Only 1 turret left actually on the Nexus itself, but all 3 inhibitors dropped down. The bottom inhibitor actually dropped down just due to the minions, of course, because of the prolonged nature of the entire Baron itself. Your bottom wave was so good for them, but now even if they have that Baron, they have so much work to get through that base here. The second tier line is still up for Issue is Critical as well, so that means that this 3rd Drake here is going to be so hard when they all have to just sit in that base and clear out these waves.
If Mountain Soul is secured by Issue is Critical, that takes away such an important amount of resources and resistances for Full Spectrum. They need either that 3rd Mountain Drake or just be able to deny the Mountain Soul away so that either they have a chance to become super tanky and make Rodolph, which is already an impossible beast to get through, but also the ornaments are coming in now for the side of Full Spectrum. Obsidian Cleaver for DMK, the Death Crown for Sudsy as well. Sudsy has not been having the best early game this match so far, but now he's coming into full force on this Cassiopeia. Those Twin Fangs are going to be piercing, but no one is there to contest the Mountain Soul, and that is secured by Issue is Critical.
Man, Rafa, we take a look at this gold, right? Even though it's 56k to 58k right now on both these teams here, these Ornn items are just kicking in and boosting up that gold here. You know, we always talk about Ornn whenever we're commentating. Unfortunately, the gold doesn't reflect those levels here, but knowing that they have the Mountain Soul and knowing that they want to see if they can pressure in the game here, they're trying to see it, but they found GMK.
Switology as well. Switology having taken a brunt force of damage, almost losing about half of his health just to the efforts of Full Spectrum just pounding damage back and back and back. But the Mountain Soul is just doing incredible work for them, giving the shield and giving an incredible amount of extra resistances on top of it. You see Dragoon split pushing on the top side of the map, trying to threaten for the top inhibitor as both of the inhibitors have respawned in favor for Full Spectrum. But if they go down again, the super minions will continue relentlessly putting them on the back foot. They still only have the 1 Nexus turret as the bottom inhibitor did recently fall. And now Dragoon moves in to try and secure this top inhibitor. Rodolph Will engage, getting the knockup down. The rest of the members are piling in. Tidal
Everyone
Wave comes
else.
down. There's the Showstopper. Gets a decent amount of damage on the King Vex, forcing the flash backwards in safety. But beautiful
DMK.
engage stuffer from Hyper, getting in the Steadfast Presence, denying DMK to be able to make the plays. Sudsy, 3-man Petrifying Gaze. Can it be enough? However, Rodolph is still alive.
done.
But it's the damage that matters in this late of the game. And without the damage, you can't fight back. Issue is critical despite having such an abysmal early game. Make it around. Strats off to Dragoon as well. 0-8 on set, and still making out to be the better top laner this series.
And they still want to pat that KDA real quick. Ravaz Meech, he's going to go down here. Only a little bit of health left.
It's not
They
over
should
yet.
never take it down
Yeah,
yet.
oh, there it is.
There it is. Woo! Gotta be careful. It's only command attack and Swidology left alive, but still, great game overall here. Still a pretty big slugfest on both teams here, but at the end of the day, Issue is Critical are the ones who take the victory, and they're the ones who take it 2-0 against this team here. And unfortunately, Full Spectrum, they didn't have their full roster, but imagine if they did. Imagine how close this game could have gotten if all starting 5 members were here, because if they were, it could have honestly gone to a game 3.
Oh man, I I have no words, man. I have no words. It looks like not even my my camera's blinking out, and now I'm blue. That game was so insane that now we're all blue, guys. We are all blue. That everything is just I can't even. What can we get a look at the post game stats and the damage? That would be it'd be super nice to look at. I'm so
Yo, all
sorry.
right, you know, you're good, Rafa, because right now we take a look at the damage right now. Even though Rodolph was pumping out a lot of damage here, 22,000 on that Ornn here, and Iking Vex, you know, trying to pump out as much as well. Meech is the one who did the most damage with that Rage Blade and with that Blade of the Ruined King here. 31,000 in this game overall here. And even though he didn't pick up most of the kills, he was definitely one that didn't even get focused on in these team fights here. Just sitting there auto attacking everyone else over and over again. And even then, this game was still so close because Full Spectrum definitely could have taken it at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw some promises from Full Spectrum, and thankfully for them, despite having to have dealt with using a bunch of substitutes. I mean, we can see that on a mechanical level, they definitely had the marks. I mean, Rodolph getting those 2 early solo kills in the laning phase was huge for the early game. It's just we go back to that discussion of how important team cohesion and communication is for teams in the UPL. I mean, you can't just get by with like just smashing your lane and just being individually better. You have to translate that into objectives and meaningful snowballs into the game.
Yeah, and I know that like my microphone cut out the moment you were asking me the question, does top lane matter, right? And this is where I want to get a discussion that, you know, top lane does matter to a certain extent, but it's mainly about the team and how well you guys all perform, right? If you guys are all perform perfectly well, if you guys are all in sync, then it makes it look so much better.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the damage charts and 0-8 set still out damages Ornn. I mean, just like how's that fair? How's that fair, Chilling Walk?
Hey, Blade of the Ruined King and Black Cleaver, baby. That's what you got to do. And you just got to keep on fighting. That's what he has to do, man. Get in there, use those fists, punch whoever is in front of you down. And that's how you get that damage. And that's what Dragoon was doing the entire time.
All right, well, enough of this series. We know that Issue Critical came out on top of 2-0, but we're going to look at the bracket for the rest of the playoffs series, and I believe we should be seeing who Issue is Critical will be taking up next. It will be the winner between First Blood Crusade and Orglis, as they are currently in their 3rd game right now. So the winner of that matchup will take on Issue is Critical, whereas due to the loss of Full Spectrum Esports, we will now see them having to take on 100 Thieves next in the losers bracket, which, I mean, Issue is Critical was tough, but fighting against 100 Thieves next, that's a whole other level.
Yeah, but keep in mind, that was a sub roster here. Only Sudsy was the main starter. So if all 5 of the starters were to come back in and play against 100 Thieves next, might be a better showing here and might have a good time here. They are definitely they are the underdogs in that set here. 100 Thieves next, definitely favored right now when it comes to their seeding overall, but still going to see what happens at the end of the day here, and a new academy and Horizon Esports. They're in their third game as well. So you have to see who wins there. And whoever wins that is going to be playing the loser of First Blood and Orglis. And we talk about First Blood Crusade and Orglis. We saw Orglis last week here. They were doing phenomenal against Snowman Slammers. Got a gigantic read on Eric Z Yang here. So gonna have to see which team pulls out on top.
Absolutely. Just going through the rest of the teams as well. Issue is critical. Being this far up into the winter side bracket just goes to show, or it shows the merit of how well this team works together.
Mhm.
And I just massive props to them for being able to come this far and to play against Full Spectrum Esports and being able to show a variety of being able to play strongly through Dragoon when he has the lead in the first game, and as well as Command Attack and Meech in the second game once they're the ones being ahead. There are some things that they have to clean up. I'm still gonna scold them for how badly
Mhm.
they played the all in, the near pentakill in favor of Sudsy in the game one. But these are things I know that their coaching staff will be able to, or maybe if it's just the team themselves, will have to look over before their next match against the winner between FBC and Orglis.
Yeah, and even then, we talk about issue is critical, right? They actually made it out of the group of death here, taking the first seed against Snowman Slammers, Supernova, and Grandview Vikings here. So, these guys are looking pretty damn good here. Now on winner side, round two here, winners grand finals. Well, no, winners finals essentially on the winner side of the bracket here. So if they win this, they go to grands, and now they're just kind of sitting pretty to see who makes out a loser. So that's just the question here. Can issue is critical make it out and see if they can make it to grands? Because if they do, now they can just analyze the opponent, sit back for 1 week as losers finals finish up, and see what they can do to adapt here and see see what patches come through as well.
Yeah. Issue is critical. They've got a long road ahead of them, but definitely not as long as Full Spectrum, who are now in the loser side bracket. They're gonna have to go up against a Hadja Thieves, but that'll do it for us here today, ladies and gentlemen. We will be hosting the First Blood Crusade, or rating the First Blood Crusade and Orglis match as they look to close out their third game. But before we go ahead and do that, we just want to give you a huge shout out and thanks to everyone at Upsurge for putting this production together, as well as my co-partner Chilling Walk, as well as our awesome stream producer Hypertension for making this stream happen. And thank you to everyone in Twitch chat for coming on and supporting. And get your Upsurge GGs in the chat ready as we get ready to raid. For us, it'll be it'll be over. I'm losing my words here. Goodbye, all. Have a good night.
Peace out.